The escalating conflict and deteriorating situation in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo are a grave concern to the people and governments of East Africa. Noting the worsening humanitarian crisis exacerbated by ongoing military actions, including the closure of airspace in Goma, I call for the immediate and unconditional cessation of hostilities. I emphasize the obligation of all parties to facilitate humanitarian access to affected populations and urge both sides to pursue peaceful means to resolving this tragic conflict. These alarming developments, coupled with rising diplomatic tensions in the region, underscore the urgent need for peaceful resolution to a conflict that continues to inflict untold suffering on the people, particularly women and children. As the current chair of the East African Community, Kenya is aware of the region's critical responsibility in de-escalating violence and facilitating dialogue between the parties involved. We confirm and firmly believe that a sustainable solution can only be achieved through engagement, constructive dialogue, and a renewed commitment to peace. I call on the parties to the Luanda process on Eastern DRC and appeal specifically to my brothers, President Felix Tshisekedi and President Paul Kagame, both of whom I have had the occasion to speak to this evening, to heed the call for peace from the people of our region and the international community. I call on them to dedicate all efforts towards achieving peace in Eastern DRC and restoring good neighborliness, an essential principle underpinning regional peace and collective responsibility. Consequently, and having consulted with the heads of state of our region, we will be convening an extraordinary East African Community Summit within the next 48 hours to facilitate and to deliberate on this crisis and chart a way forward. This is in line with the East African Community Summit's decision of November 2024, which called for constructive engagement to address this conflict. I thank both President Tshisekedi and President Kagame for their confirmed participation in this summit. Additionally, the African Union must not remain passive in the face of this escalating crisis. The East African Community stands ready to forge a stronger collaboration with the African Union and SADC, as well as the international community in encouraging the warring parties to prioritize engagement.
I can't afford to behave the way you want me to behave in dealing with this problem. I can't. It's life and death to me and my people. For you, it's just something you talk about, or you can call and give instructions while you are playing football or you are playing tennis or doing golf. It is as simple as that for you. But for me, just a blink at the wrong time, it's life and death for me. So I'm just saying, please also understand us and understand the people you are dealing with. We are not this same old idiots you dealt with 50 years ago. We are not. Not at all, not anywhere near to that. For the last 2 days, on Monday and today this morning, I spoke with the President of South Africa, who sought me out to speak with me on this matter because of their involvement in Eastern Congo. And he's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role, and he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo, that these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans, please. These are Congolese, and one time he accepts it, then another time he says no, part of it is yes, and then the other part is from Rwanda, and these are he keeps on going. And how do we, leaders of our own countries, accept this to go on forever and just accept that we shall be manipulated by Tshisekedi or whoever is supporting him? And South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about. Maybe they should have done that exactly for which they have been issuing threats. They should have done it to clean up the mess in Eastern Congo, or to fight back those who have been trying to clean up the mess. So then you have the whole international community just confused. They talked about Rwanda, they talked about the Nairobi process. Honestly, even here, maybe you will help me understand what all this means. The processes became an end in themselves. And the people leading these processes became more important than the results of the processes. The Nairobi process became a Uhuru process. Then the Rwanda process, it's like you can't say anything that will displease President Lorenzo. Definitely, this does not help deal with such a serious matters as we are faced with today.
These leaders of M23 and the majority of their fighters came from Uganda, where they had been as refugees who ran away from, or as a result of solving the problem of 2012, 2013, when these people moved to Uganda and others came here. I remember for specific actually number, those who came here were between 500 and 600, whom we disarmed and gave back arms to the government of DRC at the time, and had been kept here for a long time until when things as they kept changing, the government of DRC used to send even their officials to come and speak to people here, where we had held them in camps, to speak to them purportedly to resolve their problems. It went on back and forth for a long time. The problems were never resolved. But these are not the ones who started the fighting. And if you want to see where these people, most of them are still here. The fighting was started by the main group that was in and from Uganda. So how did it become Rwanda's problem? Honestly.
I also condemn, in the strongest possible terms, the attack earlier today on the various embassy premises and personnel in Kinshasa, DRC, including the Kenyan embassy, by marauding protesters. This is a serious breach of international law as enshrined in the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, 1961, we call on the authorities in DRC to expeditiously investigate these violations and take appropriate actions. I say so, Mr. Chairman, because it is evident in certain areas that as they were looting, there were security agencies just standing by, seeming to abate the process of destruction. The principle of inviolability of diplomatic and consular premises is sacrosanct and must be respected in all cases under international law, including during armed conflict. States have an obligation to take appropriate steps to protect diplomatic and consular premises against any intrusion or damage, and to prevent any disturbance of peace of diplomatic and consular posts or impairment of their dignity. Indeed, I have conveyed my concerns to Madame Wagner, the Minister for Foreign Affairs of DRC, on this matter.